G'day, this is Laurie Fisher here, presenting on behalf of World Rugby, looking at attacking impact fundamentals. The attacking breakdown is an important part of the game. It could be anywhere between 50 and 150 attacking breakdowns in the game, depending upon weather conditions and playing styles. So it's an important part of the game to have an opinion on and to try and get right. The information I'm presenting here today, just my thoughts and ideas and philosophies developed over time. You'll have your own. I'm not saying mine's the best way or the right way or the only way, but it's the way that I coach it, and hopefully you'll get something out of it or something that might provoke some thought in the way that you coach your teams and your players in the attacking impact part of the game. Today I'm going to look at three aspects of attacking impact or attacking breakdown, looking at the ball carry, looking at the groundwork of the ball carrier, and looking at the clean out. As a general philosophy, I'd have an opinion that roughly 60% to 70% of recycle is the responsibility of the ball carrier and his groundwork, and anything between 30 and 40% is the responsibility of the support players and the clean out. What I intend doing is just looking at a range of key fundamentals in each of those areas, and then look at a range of vision. So I'm going to look at some closed skill drills that we operate at training. I'm going to look at the transfer of those closed skill drills into more open skill drills at training, and then get a cross check at the end on how we're travelling in games in terms of our adherence to our basic attacking impact philosophies. So first thing I'll look at is ball carry. So the aim of our ball carry, and I guess ideally it's a line break or a try, but if we're talking about impact, I'm looking for impact dominance, and I'm looking for metres through contact. I want the ball carrier to try and be gain line positive as often as he can, looking to expose clean out targets, looking for quick release ball, and potentially create passing, offloading opportunities through impact. In terms of the ball carrier itself, and again it differs from where you are on the field and the situation you're in, but I guess here if I talk about when you're more likely to be taking the ball into contact, looking at trying to hold the ball initially centrally into your hands, really keen on trying to get some sort of footwork so it can be into a seam, either inside or outside the ball defender. Looking for acceleration forward after lateral step, again try and get head and shoulders and the ball past the defenders, shoulders forward, square into the seam. Keen to retain the ability to give early and support, or to tip late, or to tuck and fend to carry. If you're carrying low, I'd like the player to tuck the ball to his gut and use the opposite hand forearm to fend. Ideally we drop centre of gravity by lengthening their base, knee bend, strong through the hips, body lean forward and forearm bump into contact, and ideally both feet in contact with the ground momentarily at the point of impact. Give yourself that ability to bounce a legs tackler off. Most importantly, maintain leg drive through the hips, knees and feet. Use of lead arm to create a buffer and separation with chop defender and to keep him off the legs. In this day and age, the strip is an increasing part of the game, so it's most important that the ball carrier has an awareness of that and makes adjustments accordingly on whether you tuck and fend or you tall and two hands over the ball, depending upon your situation and skill set. Moving on to groundwork, the aim of the groundwork is to deny the opposition immediate access to the ball. So I like my players to cover the ball or provide a moving target. Under the new interpretations, you're allowed one dynamic movement, and you should encourage your players to take that one dynamic movement. Trying to force the contesting player to adjust his feet to find position over the ball. Want to buy time for support lines to react to the clean out line. Want to try and draw our clean out forward, allow our clean out to accelerate into impact, and allow for continuity of circumstances on the pop or pick game. Look at four different types of groundwork or ball presentation. In a double tackle or a square impact tackle situation, I coach what I call a hide and squeeze or a fan delivery. The aim of this is to land long, narrow, maximise the distance you've got for the ball carrier to get forward and try to deny defender access. So the key points are leg drive to land long north-south, find your front, hide the ball under your chest, roll to a shoulder, lift the opposite leg over the ball, push the ball 2 hands between the legs, and as always, control is key. There's never an absolute rush unless you're in space and you can pop the ball off the deck. We'll just take a look at a couple of examples here of good fans. So I want you to note, again, a little bit of footwork, leg drive and surge through contact, finding our front, and then execution from there. So the circle player on the right-hand side, some footwork, square through the seam, finds his front, rolls to a shoulder, and places the ball between his legs. Just look at another example here, the circle player there. Don't get the same surge through contact, but nevertheless we get footwork to square through the seam, find our front, roll to a shoulder, lift the leg over the ball and place the ball between the legs. So 2 good examples in close skill of a fan groundwork. The second type of groundwork is a hide and horseshoe with a pop option, and generally if you've been chopped or you've carried well into a seam, this might be a good strategy to use there. Again, the aim is to deny the defender immediate access to the ball, again trying to draw our clean out forward and obviously to try and deliver quick ball. So the keys we're looking for is leg drive to land long north-south, find your front, hide the ball under your chest, roll to a side, preferably the keep going side but not always possible, jackknife to move upper body towards the feet, and a 2-hand long place towards the feet, or again reserve the right to pop off the deck if we're in a bit more space. So again, looking at a couple of examples, circle player on the right hand side, again looking at his footwork to get square through the seam, his surge through contact, his initial ability to find his front, and then his work on the ground from there. So footwork, surge through, find your front, jackknife and placement. Another example here, player on the right hand side, good footwork, good body height, shoulders down, square through the seam, good leg drive, finds his front and a nice aggressive jackknife on the ground. Our third type of groundwork, again in chop or seam carries, is a hide and caterpillar. And oftentimes I encourage the use of this when a ball carrier might get pinned by a poacher whilst the ball is still underneath him. So again, the aim, be a moving target on the ground, and when you're limited to one dynamic movement, and particularly when you get pinned by a poacher. So similar key points, leg drive to land long north-south, find your front, ball under your chest, draw your knees up underneath you. Once your knees are up underneath, execute a dynamic twist or jackknife to end up in a horseshoe, and again 2-hand ball placement of the ball. Looking at a few examples here. Again, footwork, square through the seam, find your front, hips up, and then into your jackknife position. Really well executed. Same player again. As it's coming towards you, footwork, square through a seam, surge through contact, find your front, hips up, and again, placement at your feet. So again, trying to get those hips up to try and find that release point for the ball, particularly when a player pins you in the back and tries to buy that poach penalty. Our fourth type of groundwork is when the tackle's incomplete. So looking for a release and regather. So again, the aim is to buy time, particularly when support is late, or attack through non-committal defence. Similar principles, land long north-south, find your front, hide the ball, release the ball underneath your chest, regain your feet, and regather the ball simultaneously. You can fend and drive into space in front, shift the ball to support in space, or you may indeed, as the first clip will show, just work back into a different type of groundwork. So first clip here, player under a little bit of pressure, fights to find his way forward, releases the ball, tries to get back to his feet, tackler holds on, but we buy time to enable us to release the ball. A different type of scenario, strong ball carry, square through a seam, Fights to get front on, lands on his front. We clear away the clean out, releases the ball, regathers, and takes advantage of the space in front. So there's our 4 types of groundwork: our fan, our horseshoe, our caterpillar, and our release and regather. Move on to clean out now. So support players. So the aim of our clean out is to assist the generation of quick ruck ball, to remove threats to quick recycle, particularly in the A, B and C zones. Generally in D zone, like to deny contest as we do in the 15-metre channels and at retreat rucks. We're looking to assist metres in contact with early targeting, shoulder hitting to hurt to try and take a physical toll on the opposition. We want to remove numbers from the opposition defence line. We want to affect the opposition foul to open up space for 9 or players around the corner to attack into. Again, there's a number of different scenarios that we look at. We can look at double spikes or a spike ball, which is the finding the opposition players whilst the ball carrier is still on his feet, looking for a double bullet or a bullet ball when the contest is on the ground. And in that scenario, again, we can look at a front or a hip window or a hip and rip. And again, double ball is our strategy for edges, for D zone and for retreat rucks. So firstly, looking at spike ball or double spike. In this scenario, we've got inside-outside support players react to a carry into a seam, accelerate to target both high and low defenders, or if there's double high defenders, whilst the ball carrier is still on feet and driving forward. So this is most likely in a scenario when we've got some attacking shape off 9. We want to accelerate to the target, looking for shoulder impact into the torso, double arm wrap, good leg drive to split defenders from the ball carrier, hit on the support line but step into square up post impact. Finish to the ground and finish on top. If there's only one defender accessible, the second support player is looking to a ball line and making a decision on lockdown ball, target a holding on defender or pick and pass. Reaction speed is key to arrive in time to have impact whilst the defenders are still connected to or within 1 step of the ball carrier. So this is a simulated shape off 9, so it's obviously a little bit compressed, but it's the principle that we're looking for here. So looking to try and get footwork, to get square through the seam and leg drive, to get head and shoulders through, which opens up those 2 defenders to the spikes who are trying to again chase inside, outside and open up the channel for us to continue our leg drive. Another example here, making sure the ball carrier footwork square through the seam, works on the ground. So this time looking for a fan delivery on the ground and again support players chasing inside, outside spikes. Third example, footwork, square through a seam, find your front, that's the ball carrier's responsibility. This time a horseshoe delivery on the ground, and again our 2 support players on support lines, track late, find the defenders early. Again, we can only find those defenders if our ball carrier's got through the seam and got head and shoulders past the defender. In terms of a bullet ball or double bullet, again looking inside, outside support players to react to opposition contest over our ball carrier or holding onto our ball carrier on the ground. There's 3 potential target areas for our bullet. Got a front window, which is under the chest of the poacher. We're looking for a hip and rip with a waist wrap, which would be from a support line directly behind the ball carrier, or a hip window, where we're looking to find a nice narrow entry point of contact off a lateral support line. Again, early decision on technique required is key, and that's based on the level of threat, the support lines and the opponent's body position at the contest. You need your eyes on where you want your shoulder to hit, and again we need acceleration at the target, leg drive through impact to finish on top, looking to drop height and to run through that contact area. In terms of our other key things in our bullet ball or a double bullet, need to hit with shoulder and grip simultaneously and drive and finish on top. With regard to our hip and rip, we're looking for shoulder square on the lower back, arms wrap around the waist to lift, drive and roll. I encourage our players to get further down the back and around the waist, because oftentimes the chest might be connected to the tackled player, so it's very hard to find any leverage under the chest, but there's always space around that hip area. With regard to our hip window, the key is shoulder contact on torso and driving your head in the space over the back of the poaching player. We're going to lead arm to try and find a shoulder hook under the shoulder, trying to establish a nice legal point of entry into the ruck. Trail arm looking to grab the back knee and pull towards the ground, and leg drive to finish on top. Front window, it's simply win the race in, win the shoulder battle, grips and leg drive through and up, try and take that poaching player again out of the game. If there's only ever one defender accessible, the second support player should be looking to take a ball line and then make a decision on lockdown ball, target a holding on defender, or to pick and pass to maintain some continuity. Looking at some examples here, so the first couple of examples, first three examples are our side window. So looking for our ball carrier, again to fight for leg drive to land on front, simulating a lateral support line, and then trying to find that nice tight side window to make sure that our backside is still pointing to our goal line. And again, the key in that first execution here is we're not waiting for a perfect picture on the ground. We've just got to find our way in, find a nice accurate through the gate, and then just drive through. Next one, a really, really good example. Speed to our feet, lateral support line, ball carrier does his job, eyes on target, lead arm under the shoulder, long arm round the back of knee, head over the top, leg drive through, finish on top. Third example, one of our tidies. Again, he's simulating lateral support line, trying to get in nice and tight so we've got a nice legal point of entry at the ruck. Lead arm under the hook under the shoulder, establish an offside line, chase round back of knee, keep your leg drive on, head over the top, get your feet back in the game. A couple of examples of hip and rip. Circle player on the right hand side, so this time simulating support from directly in behind, trying to get shoulder in the middle of the back or the lower back, grip under the waist and then roll to a side. Same example here, again just focusing on the technique, not so much on the aggression and physicality of it. Track in behind, well down the back, gripping underneath the waist and getting that roll away. As I say, I think there's always space under the waist to get a nice two-arm grip underneath, and that space is not always available under the chest. Our double ball aim to deny contest, generate length in the ruck, provide a solid platform for 9 to pass or kick, buy time for retreat shape to organise, and generally used on edges, D-zone and retreat rucks. All D-zone edge carries into the 50-metre channel and retreat ruck breakdown, we're looking for double ball. First support, accelerate in, arrive wide base, split stance and lock down over the ball. Looking for that player to grab a handle, close the window with chest on tackle player, head past the ball and keep eyes forward. Hips reasonably high. Second support player, want the lead leg, what we call quad to crack, so getting in nice and tight on the first player, wrap around the chest or waist or reach over the shoulder, chest to back and window closed. Totally to disincentivise that poach or counter ruck from the opposition by providing no window. Just looking at a couple of drills with our backs here, so we're simulating a short side reload. So players to their feet, square at the line, accelerate through contact, find our front, excellent groundwork, first player in, grab a handle, pull your chest down, second player quad to crack, and ideally we're playing off nice quick ruck ball on an edge. Second example, similar. Little ball out the back, square through contact, surge your way through, find your front, fan delivery this time. First player in, grab a handle, chest down, wide base, support player, quad to crack, chest to back, lock down and making sure that we're behind each other, not side by side. So we've got that double ball as opposed to side by side. Just got 3 examples here now of whether we're getting transfer from our closed skill drills into more multi-phase. So this drill is just an A-zone drill. Generally in the A-zone drill, so our basic key points are the same. We're trying to get a little bit of footwork, trying to get square through the seam, trying to find our front on a surge through contact, oftentimes fan delivery, and then support players' reaction. So let's have a look how we go here. So working around the corner in the same way, a lead up on the outside, square through the seam, find our front, fan delivery, support players chasing in. Round the corner we go, a little bit of footwork, square through the seam, find our front, fan delivery, support player on a line over the ball. Again, inside this time, squaring up through the seam, finding our front, support players tracking over the ball. Again, leg drive, shoulders down, square through the seam, surge through, find our front, deny access. Same again, finding our front, fan delivery, and we're off and playing. So not too bad, not perfect, but I think if you're chasing perfection in the game of rugby, you're going to be consistently disappointed, but pretty good adherence to our basic attacking breakdown principles there. The next clip is just 1 phase long edge. So again, just looking in our 15 metre channel, so our principles on, find our front, fan delivery here, double ball, so a little bit side to side, but then we get a third man in to double ball, shut the window, discourage any counter rucking, and ideally we're playing off nice quick front foot ball. The third clip is a little bit more multi-phase, and again, just tracking our adherence. So player buys time on his feet, we've got a lockdown ball in the 15 metre channel, and we get a double ball in. Attacking shape off 9, we'd be looking for that carry and looking for that early spike. And again, a bit of coverage on the ball. Back to the short side, we get caught, but the player fights hard to find his front, and we get that lockdown ball. Good seam carry, looking for the early spike on the outside, lets him go, which is not ideal. No concepts from the inside, so we lock down ball. Play towards an edge, strong carry, and again in this situation we don't find our front perfectly, but we get a really good quick reaction from our support player, and again we're able to play on the front foot. So again, whilst it's not perfect, I can see in all those pictures that we're transferring what we're demanding, or the key fundamentals that we're trying to develop in our closed drills, that we're getting a good transfer into our open skill drills. So the key now is, are we transferring from our open skill drills into the game? So I've just got a number of clips here which will finish off the presentation, and we can make some sort of assessment that are we seeing the majority of those key fundamentals in our game situation. So first one here, a winger carrying a little bit of space. So what I like is that he fights hard to find his front, he buys time on the ground, we get a side window reaction, and we get a lockdown ball from the inside. Same player in the next clip is in heavy traffic, fights his way through, bounces out of contact, fights hard to get forward, to find his front. We get a sword hip and rip from a support player, and again the next player locks down ball because there's no second target at the breakdown. So really nice, fighting hard in contact, fighting hard to get forward, fighting hard to find your front, fighting hard to bring the support players forward, and then them choosing the ideal tool for the situation. Next clip here, again looking at an inside ball, a little bit of traffic, again finds his front, works his hips up in a caterpillar, buys that little bit of time for side window. So again, really nicely done. Next clip here, looking at a couple of instances of fan presentation. So ball carrier, square into contact, bounces out, fights hard to stay square, surges forward, and then the key thing that we're looking for there is he fights to find his front, he fights to get forward, he brings our clean out forward, he puts the defence on the back foot, he brings the attack onto the front foot, and again ideally we're playing off quick ball. Same player in a bit of space on an edge, drops height, fights through contact, bounces, finds his front, and again, we've sort of got two front window bullets there. Ideally, we get some leg drive through, we take the defender out of the game, but really good example of winning the shoulder battle. Next clip here, I know the crawl is no longer in the game, so if you close your eyes on the crawl, but just a really good example of finding your front, of surging through contact, of drawing your clean out forward, of fan delivery. So surges through contact, stays north-south, good fan. The clean out chases a nice front bullet, no contest there, and again we play quickly off that. So really, really nicely done. I can see clear transfer from what we're doing at training. Next clip here, short side play, little bit of footwork, gets caught in space, lifts his hips up into a caterpillar, just buys that little bit of time. Clean out far from perfect, but we've been able to buy time, release the ball just by one dynamic movement on our caterpillar. Next one here, head down carry. Again, hips up, little bit of traffic, buys that time, really nice side window from the inside, little bit of protection from the outside. Again, the key is just in that heavy traffic area, being able to lift your hips, try and make the poacher adjust, and then buy that little bit of time for your support players to choose their weapon. Next clip, really nice example of a little bit of footwork at the line, surge through, find your front. We've got a lovely side window from one player, a front window from the other player. Again, ideally, we keep our feet, we take defensive players out of the game, but just I like the footwork and the adherence of our ball carrier to do his 60 or 70% work to provide opportunity for quick ruck ball. Next ruck, head down carry, looking for an early spike on the outside. So head down carry, square through the seam, early spike on the outside, inside player, because there's no inside threat, tracks over the ball, exercise his option, he can stay high there because there's no threat, we get quick release, and again we're playing on top. But again, footwork, shoulders down, square into the seam, early spike on the outside, player taken out of the game, we play on the front foot. Just a three-phaser here. Ball carry, little bit of footwork, square through the seam, both defenders off our feet, we're 2 for 2 there, no need to take anyone out. We come back to the short side, square through a seam, find our front, caterpillar, buys that little bit of clean out time, shifts the point of contact, work back to the open side. Can we get a double spike here? Again, both defenders off our feet. We're chasing outside, side window, and we're 2 for 2. So really nice three-phase play to get us on the front foot. Key thing I'm looking for there is the ball carrier being active to try and get square through the seam, to find his front, to exercise his one dynamic movement option, and then for the support players to make good decisions on what they need to do at that picture. Next clip here, again just looking at a one phase, ball carrier finds space on an over, square through the contact, we get an excellent double spike, 2 players off their feet, excellent delivery, and again we're drawing our clean out forward, we're playing on the front foot, we're putting the defence on the back foot, enabling us to play at pace. Next clip here, again ball carrier decides to take it on, and again front window, win the shoulder battle. Ideally we continue leg drive, or at worst here we reload back to the tackle player, hands on, grab a handle, lock down, and we work a double ball there. But a really good example of winning the shoulder battle, leg drive, take out the poacher would be the extension of that. Again, first phase play here, really good example, again, of strong carry, of ball carrier buying, a moment of time on the ground, superb reaction from our 12 to get back into the side window, legal point of entry, and very, very good quick ruck ball off that first breakdown. Again, strong through contact, looking at our inside support player. And again, just using the right tool for the job. So if we look at that situation there, that the ability to work back for our support player, for our ball carrier to just buy that little bit of time, for our inside support player to make sure that he's tracking over line of ball. Does he need to take somebody out? Can he lock down ball? And then the speed of reaction from our outside player to get back and provide whatever assistance is needed. So excellent reaction speed from our inside, outside support players. Next clip here is just looking at a hip and rip. So ball comes down a short side here. And an excellent example. Again, ideally, we might grab a little bit lower, but again, we're not that concerned in a game. It's about the end result. If you get the end result, there's margin for error in how you execute your technique. But again, I'm seeing really good transfer from training, from multi-phase training, and then into the game here. Last clip's just a multi-phase clip here, again, which we can track ourselves through 3, 4 or 5 phases and see how we're going. So strong ball carry, fights to find his front, works on the ground, we get excellent support reaction. Ideally we take numbers out at Cleanout. Space on the inside, square up at the line. Again, excellent reaction from our support players. Into forward shape, again we see ourselves fighting hard here to find front on, provide that side window opportunity. Inside step, I know there's a roll on the ground there, but we buy that little bit of time for our support players. Accelerating, square through impact, find our front, caterpillar, good ruck ball, and we're off and running. So 3 or 4, 5 phases, really good quick ball. All built on a little bit of footwork, square through a seam, finding our front, one dynamic movement, support players reacting. Again, you could be critical saying that we'd like at all times to be slightly better in our targeting, but you're not always going to get that opportunity. So again, I'm looking at that development from our core skill work, our closed skill work, our open skill work of training, into the pressure and physicality of game day, and I'm seeing a nice progression and a nice understanding of what we're trying to achieve. Just a couple of things to finish on basic training requirements. What's important to me? Key things I believe are the clarity of message and the coaching cues that I'm sending. I'm hopeful that you can see through this presentation that there's a lot of repetition. I don't have different cues for different circumstances. The basic message is the same. What do I want from my ball carrier? What do I want from my support players? And I think in any circumstances, whatever picture they see in front of them, I think they've got a really clear understanding of what I'm asking them to do. From the point of view of the player, they've got to understand and they've got to provide the attention to detail that I'm looking for. So if they don't understand my messaging, they need to ask, or if I'm not getting delivered what I want on the training paddock in a game, I've got to ask the question, are they understanding the message that I'm sending? And again, I do believe that attention to detail in training is hugely important, because you don't always have that opportunity in a game. Game's about reacting and not waiting for that perfect picture. So it's most important the attention to detail is training. So when we get to the game, it's all about reaction and execution. Concentration is hugely important. So during the course of a training session, the ability for a player to concentrate. So whether it's your turn or not your turn to execute, you've got to be concentrating. So whether you're watching the next group or the group beside you, what's their execution like? So you've never got your head out of the training session. Always making assessments on, did I do it well? Could I do it better? What's that group doing? What's their execution like? And making adjustments in my mind for my next repetition. Technical quality is important to training. We've got to be good at training. As you can see in a lot of the clips, reaction speed, so our inside-outside support reaction, and it's that reaction speed aligned with the ability of the ball carrier to find the seam, to deliver the leg power, to find your front, to buy that little bit of time, provides quality front foot breakdown ball. As in any part of rugby, the ability to deliver anything with power is important. And equally important is repeat effort. As I said, there might be up to 150 in a game, and if you put that again with tackles, scrums, line-outs, ball carries, defending, there's a whole lot of work you've got to do in a game. So the ability to deliver repeat effort with technical quality, with reaction speed and power is hugely important. Well, that's the end of the presentation now. I'm hoping that that there's something in there that'll be able to help you take your coaching forward. I look forward to catching up with you next week online and answering any of the questions that you might have. Again, hope you've enjoyed it, and looking forward that we can all take our rugby forward.